Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea Tranquility. Welcome to day 12 of albums that are 40 years old in 2023 as we look back on the great year of 1983. Lots of great albums across lots of cool genres of music came out in 1983. We're celebrating them all month long, 28 days of February. We've picked out our 28 favorites from 1983, of course, at the end of the series. On the last day of the month, I'll also have a separate episode for the honorable mentions, the ones that I like a lot, didn't quite make the cut of 28. A lot of really good ones that just didn't quite make it. You know, only 28, right? That's all you can pick. So you got to make some tough decisions, right? I wish our entire lives were made on decisions like this, right? But yeah, anyway, so today we're going to take a look at an album that came out on April 11th, 1983, recorded at Morris Sound Studios in Tampa, Florida, here in the U.S., for Music for Nations and produced by Danny Johnson. I'm talking about the debut from Savatage, Sirens. Killer song to kick off the album. Killer album, really. This is obviously Savatage at the very beginning, before they would become much more progressive-minded and add lots of different intricacies and things to their music. This is just down and dirty, classic U.S. heavy metal. It's hard to believe, Savatage has been around since technically 82 or so, but this first album came out so long ago. Yeah, crazy stuff. Anyway, in the band, of course, you have the Oliva brothers, John Oliva on what they called Shrieks of Terror on this album, lead vocals. Chris Oliva on metal axe, guitars and backing vocals. You got Keith Collins on bass and Steve Wachholz on drums. Of course, that Savatage lineup would kind of fluctuate a bit over the years, right? Of course, then we would have the untimely passing of Chris Oliva in the early 90s, right, which would throw things even into more of a, kind of a tizzy, right? You would have lots of other folks coming and going from Savatage. Right, Alex Skolnick from Testament would come on to play guitar after we lost Chris Lee. Of course, Chris Caffrey and Al Pitrelli would come join the ranks, right? Various other folks here and there over the years, but Zach Stevens on vocals would replace John Oliva when he would leave. But back in the early days, you had Mr. Oliva, who, what a voice this guy's got. And he makes it known right off the bat with his kind of Ian Gillan style heavy metal screeching right on the title track. Then you got the snarling Holocaust. Then the pile driving anthemic I Believe. Other than the title track, might be my favorite song on the album. I Believe is absolutely terrific. Great chorus. Pile driving riff. Then you got Rage, which is fast paced, almost thrashy. Side 2 of the original vinyl, you got On the Run. Okay, the raging Twisted Little Sister, Living for the Night, which has a pretty good hook to that, Scream Murder, another crushing heavy metal track, and then the really, really hooky Out in the Streets. It's no surprising that they decided to redo that song on their Fight for the Rock album, which was a very commercial album. That, of course, was the album that came right before The Great Hall, The Mountain King, one of my favorite heavy metal albums of all time, and one of the outstanding releases of 1987, but Fight for the Rock, which came out before, I guess the record label were trying to convince the band to go in a little more commercial direction. That didn't quite work, but what they did was they remade Out in the Streets and made it even more commercial sounding. Out in the Streets, terrific song. Not surprised that they chose to kind of redo that because, of course, back in the day, who heard this album? Really nobody. This did not, this charted in Germany. That was it. So this was kind of this fell way under the radar for most people, other than hardcore metalheads. I remember getting this back in the day. I actually bought this and The Dungeons Are Calling, the kind of EP. It's a little bit more than an EP, but got that right off the bat when those first came out. And then I remember buying Fight for the Rock and being like, this is not quite that good, right? But, Power of the Night, of course, great album. And then Hall of the Mountain King, I was, by the time Hall of the Mountain King came out, I was already a big enough Savatage fan, and I was eagerly anticipating that. And I remember bringing that home, 1987. I was in college at the time, so I drove to Rock Fantasy, all the way from State University of New York at New Paltz. Got that, came back with it, put that on my turntable, and I was like, "Wow, this is phenomenal." And that started my kind of love affair with that album that has never ended. I can still listen to Hall of the Mountain King and just be totally amazed. But we're not talking about Hall of the Mountain King today. We're talking about Sirens. So yeah, this is great too. Obviously, like I said, not quite as mature, but still really heavy. Killer vocals. Chris Oliva's guitar work is just immense as always. This is, if you want, if anybody were to ask themselves, well, what I would like to hear is the heaviest Savatage album ever released. That might be this one. I'd say Hall of the Mountain King, Power of the Night are also really, really heavy. Maybe not quite as heavy as this one. This is a little more, this and Dungeons Are Calling are definitely heavier and a little more evil sounding, whereas the other albums are just a little classier, but still really, really heavy and just epic big time. But yeah, Sirens is my pick for today. Day number 12, let us know what you think of Sirens and Savatage down in the comments below, as well as your pick for day 12. And we'll see you in just a little bit. We've got ranking the albums coming up. I will be ranking the catalog of the great U.S. Doom / stoner rock legend Sleep. That is happening this morning. And then, of course, we'll be back tomorrow morning with another album that turns 40 years old in 2023, as well as we've got the Hudson Valley Squares tomorrow night. We've got the Monsters Den on Thursday, new album review day on Wednesday. As always, I'll have the new Uriah Heep for you. New Ice Age. Going to try and get to both of those this week. I got the new Mike Keneally. I've got the new Winery Dogs, which just came in yesterday. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, so Winery Dogs will probably have to wait for the following week. We got, like I said, all sorts of cool stuff. I got a cool Jade Warrior release from the vaults. I've got some Rick Wakeman. What else? New Celeste, great Italian prog band. There's all sorts of stuff creeping in. So, yeah, we're hot and heavy into 2023 stuff now. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell to get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, down below, we've got the links to our Ko-Fi page as well as our merch page. We've got the brand new Release the Kraken shirt, right? The great octopus design, which is absolutely terrific. So go check that out. And we'll see you real soon here on the channel. I am Pete Pardo. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.